guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Brooke if you're new here, and today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I'm surprised I haven't done one of these before, but anyway, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, go follow my book talk because I'm more active on there, as you guys know. But I'm going to be telling you guys some of the best and worst books that I've read so far this year, so let's get started. Okay, so starting off, the first two categories are basically the best book I've read so far and the best sequel I've read so far, and those are actually both the same book. But I guess I'll start off by saying I've only read 19 books so far this year. I'm on book 20 right now, I think. Yeah. Which I'm super behind on my reading goal. I'm hoping to catch up whenever I go to the beach. But if I don't, then at the end of the summer, I think I'm going to lessen my reading goal, because I know I have a hard time reading in the fall, like, because of school. And I was just in, like, a massive reading slump at the beginning of the year, so I think that's why. Okay, but anyway, that's enough rambling. So, best book and best sequel are the same book that I've had. So, the best book I've read so far this year and the best sequel goes to Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I love this book so much. I love books that have mental health topics in them because, as you guys know, I'm a psych major. And I just, like, connected with the characters really well. This book was amazing. I love Abby Jimenez. This is only the second book I've read by her, but absolutely everything, 5 stars. You guys need to read it. No notes. Okay. And then there's also another question on the version that I'm using was new release that I want to read that I have, but I don't really have any new releases because I've been pretty good about not buying any books so far this year, like, besides books that are like a sequel. I guess like a new release that I want to read. They recently made Two Can Play, which was only a audiobook, I think, into like an actual paperback. So I do want to read this eventually. It's just like a little short novella. I just haven't really like gotten around to reading it. It's been on one of my TBRs, but I'll probably get to it eventually because like, it's a short book. But anyway, so my most anticipated release so far, like for the rest of the year, is definitely the next Divergent book. I think it's called The Fifth Faction. I think that's what it's called. I'm gonna start my Divergent reread this month. I'm thinking after the book that I'm currently reading, so I'm super duper excited for that because that was like my favorite series in middle school, and I have not like read the books like since then. I've watched the movies many times, so I've not like tried to reread the books, so I'm really excited. Divergent just holds a special place in my heart, and I was not expecting her to come out with a new book, so I'm just super excited for that. Okay, so next up is like my biggest disappointment read, and it's actually The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. Yes, I do have the special edition one because when I went to buy it at Walmart, this is the only version they have, and I love special edition books, but I'm kind of sad that I didn't love this one like as much since I got the special edition one. But it is really pretty. I'll show you guys. Like, it has like this sprayed edge. It says Logan and Grace, and it's like really pretty on the inside. And then it has like some pictures too, which are really cute. I loved the Off-Campus show. I actually recently got introduced to the series this year. I've heard of the Off-Campus series like before this year. I just like never got around to reading it. But I read the deal right before the show came out, and we'll get to that book because it's in one of the later categories. This is actually the last book I read before the one I'm reading now. I loved Grace's character a lot, but I didn't really like Logan's character a lot. I like show Logan a lot more than book Logan. I don't know if that's a hot take, but yeah. So I feel like that's why it was a disappointment for me. But I loved Grace's character. I just feel like this book didn't have as much substance as like the first book did, I would say, like plot wise. Like the plot just felt like it was lacking something. So that's why I would say it's my biggest disappointment. But okay, biggest surprise. I kind of took this as like a book that like I liked more than I thought I would. And we're gonna go with Just Friends by Haley Pham for that one because I've seen so many negative reviews about this book. I don't think the names, like the main characters' names are Blair and Declan. I don't think those two names go together like that well as like a couple. Like I just like can't picture it in my head like Blair and Declan. But this book, like there's like topics of like grief and stuff in this book, and I found that very interesting because like I said, as a psych major, like I'm always intrigued to read about people that are going through things. So I really loved that aspect. I also thought this was going to be like a more summery romance based on the cover. But to be honest, it's not really it's not really a summer romance. It kind of is, but it doesn't really have that summer romance feel vibe, if you get what I'm saying. So you could honestly read this in like any season, to be honest. Some of the writing style was a little bit cringe in this book, but it's like a cute and easy read. I don't know why everyone's like bashing her for this, because it's like the first book she's written, and I enjoyed it, and I like Haley Pham, so that's all I can say. Okay, so a new favorite author that I've found is probably Elle Kennedy. She's like the only author I think I've read so far this year, or like one of the only ones that I haven't read before. And I really loved this book a lot. And I want to read the whole entire Briar U universe. I'm going to read The Score next month. It's going to go in next month's CBR. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. But anyway, this book is also going to go for new fictional crush, because I learned about Gary Graham, and he is everything to me. Love him. Definitely one of my new top book boyfriends. I didn't expect to love him as much as I did, because the only other hockey romance series I've read is the Maple Hill series. I actually like that series more than like other people do. My favorite book in that series is Wildfire. But this series I think is better than the Maple Hill series, at least so far. At least this book is better than those ones, but The Mistake definitely wasn't. But anyways, okay. Now we're going to move on to a new favorite character. I recently started the Shatter Me series. I've only read this book, the first novella, and then I'm reading the second book as we speak. And I think my new favorite like character is probably Kenji. He's more active in like the second book, but I'm currently reading the second book, so we're going based off like, I'm just holding because I read this one already. But I really like his character a lot. I also want to say that I like Aaron Warner's character so far too, but like he hasn't really been like as present yet as like Kenji has, at least in like the second book. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Don't spoil the Shatter Me series for me in the comments, okay? Okay, and then a book that made me cry. I don't really cry during books, but this was definitely the saddest book I read, and that was Alchemized. This is a hefty girl, okay? Hefty. I feel like this might be why I'm behind on my reading goal a little bit, because I did catch up a little bit, and I got a little bit behind, because, like, as you guys know, this book is super thick. It honestly didn't take me that long, like, as long to read this book as I thought it would. I think it took me, like, 11 days, which I don't think is that bad for how long this book is. I think this book is definitely worth the read, though. It was very intriguing. It is not what I expected at all, though, to be honest. But it's definitely very heavy. So if you don't really do well with heavy books or don't like reading those, then I wouldn't say that it's for you, but it's definitely good. I didn't give it like 5 stars like a lot of people do. Like, it's not one of my favoriteest books of all time, but it is definitely a good read. The writing style is really good. I'm curious to see what else this author writes, because I'm definitely going to read it. This is also coming from someone that did not read Manacled first, because I was never a Harry Potter fan, so I didn't even know about Manacled. And I want to try and watch the Harry Potter movies, to be honest. I've only ever watched the first movie, so I don't really know much about Harry Potter. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. And then a book that makes me happy. I also just had The Deal by Elle Kennedy, because I just really liked Hannah and Garrett's relationship a lot. And as you can tell, I haven't really read like that many good books this year so far, which is kind of like a downer, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. And then books I still need to read in 2026. There's quite a few that I want to read before 2026 is over, so I'm going to go through them really quick. I really want to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This has been on my TBR for a while, and I finally got the physical copy because I found it at Aldi's for $4.99, which is pretty cheap, like for like a hardback, obviously. I know everyone says good things about this book, and I want to read it really bad. And then I also found this book on Book Talk. It's not like a super popular one, but it's called Don't Look the Forest In. This one also sounds really good. And I love the sprayed edges on this, so I definitely want to try and read this before 2026 is over. And then I also really want to read People We Meet on Vacation, because I watched the movie, but I heard that the book's a lot better most times. But I'm going to hopefully put this on next month's TBR so I can read it while I'm at the beach. But I'm super excited to read this, but also nervous because the only Emily Henry book I read was Happy Place, and this is a hot take, but I did not like that book that much. It was okay, but it wasn't my favorite. And I have not read an Emily Henry book since, and that was like 2 years ago now. So we're gonna try this one. I think I'm gonna like it more because I did enjoy the movie. So like maybe because I enjoyed the movie, it'll make me like want to read this one. Like, I don't know. Okay, and then I also want to try and start the Chestnut Spring series. This has been on my TBR for like forever, and I got all the books for Christmas. So it would like motivate me to read it, and I still have not yet read it, and it is halfway through 2026 now. So I at least want to try and start this series before the year is over. So, and then I read 1,000 Boy Kisses this year. It was cringe, but it was also very entertaining. So I want to try and read the second book before the end of 2026 just to like finish off the, you know, the duology or whatever. Yeah. And then I want to try and finish the Lakefront Billionaire series this year. I have the second book to the Lakefront Billionaires on this month's TBR actually. So I've heard this one is the best one. I didn't really like the first one that much, but that tends to happen when I read Lauren Asher's series. I tend to like not love the first book of the series, and then I end up loving like the other ones. Like for example, the Dreamland Billionaire series, I did not like the fine print, but I loved the other two. Gave the other two 5 stars. But it was kind of different for the the Dirty Air series, because I love Throttled and I love the last one. I forget. Those are my 2 favorites in that series. But anyway, I heard this one's the best one, so I'm excited to read this one. But yeah. And then I also want to finish out the Off-Campus series, hopefully this year. This is definitely going on next month's TBR. This is The Score, which is the one that's about Dean and Allie. Then I think after this one, there's only 2 other Off-Campus books before like the Briar U series and then like the other series that she has. So I have a lot to dabble into. But I feel like I need to read all of like the Briar University's universe, because we got introduced to Hunter Davenport, I think it is, in like the Off-Campus series. And like I obviously don't know who he is because he's not in the Off-Campus series, but like directly. Like he was kind of mentioned in The Mistake, which I just read, but he's in the Briar U series, so I feel like I need to like read that series to like understand his character more and stuff. And I'm super excited to read this one because I heard this one is the best in the Off-Campus series, and I love Dean and Allie a lot in the show, so I'm super excited. But yeah, so that's basically it for my mid-year freak out book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite and least favorite book of 2025 was, or not 2025, 2026. Still not used to saying that yet, and we're halfway through the year, which is also insane. But anyway, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!